Copyright 1988 Golden Systems, all rights reserved. This is training tape number 1 of Golden Systems Customer Accounts Receivable software. It presents an overview of the entire system. For this reason, this tape is also used when giving demonstrations. Your computer should now be sitting on the screen that says Instructions. If it is not, pause this tape and follow the directions that came with your demonstration package. You will be choosing selection F1 to follow this demo cassette. Hit the F1 key now.
Welcome to the world of Golden Systems. It is our goal to usher in a new age of computer software, a golden age where you, the computer user, are in control. A time when learning a new computer system is measured in days instead of months. After reviewing the training tapes for this system, you will be in control. You will have the knowledge necessary to use your computer as a tool to make your job easier while increasing the amount of work you can perform. Every effort was made to make this system as easy as possible to use. You only need to become aware of the rules by which this system operates. This training tape was designed to familiarize you with these rules. The first step in using any computer system is being able to sign on to it. Sign on means to get into some type of data processing system. In this case, it means to get into the Customer Accounts Receivable system. To sign on to this system, you type in Gold AR and hit the Enter key. The Enter key is somewhere on the right side of your keyboard. It will usually have the word Enter written right on it. You may get the message Security Code. If so, the security option is installed on your system. You will have to find out a valid security code from the person at your location who is in charge of the system. After you get the code, type it in and hit Enter. The code will not appear on the screen as you are typing it in. You are now in the system. The master menu is displayed on the screen. The next logical step is to get to where you want to go. This is done by branching through menu screens until you get to a processing screen. A processing screen is a screen from which you can perform a specific task, such as entering a new customer or viewing a report. Any work you do on the system will be done from a processing screen. A menu screen is a screen whose only function is to get you to a processing screen in order to accomplish the task you want to perform. The quick reference sheet that came with your system shows the different menu selections needed to get to the various processing screens. It will be helpful for you to use this quick reference for a few days until you become familiar with all of the selections available on your system. From the master menu, there are 4 selections you could choose. They will get you into the 4 main areas of the system. The first selection, View Customer File Only, allows you to view customer information that is on file. You will only be able to view it. None of the information can be changed in any way. The second selection, Customer File Maintenance, also allows you to view information on file. In addition, it will let you make changes to it. Maintenance is a computer term that means you will be able to add, change, or delete the information in your customer file. The third selection, Customer File Reporting, gives you the ability to get printed reports on your information in most any format imaginable. The final selection, System Administration, allows you to do some very special functions related to tailoring the system to your specific needs. The purpose of this training tape is to familiarize you with the second selection, Customer File Maintenance. It will also touch briefly on the reports available under Customer File Reporting and the major functions available in System Administration. To get into Customer File Maintenance, you press the F2 key. The Customer File Maintenance menu screen will then appear. This system revolves around the customer file. This file contains the names, addresses, and other information regarding your customers, and keeps a record of all contacts made in your relationship with them. There are 5 selections available from this menu. Each selection will put you into a processing screen that allows you to view or change the information in your customer file. From the first selection, Customer Maintenance, you can view customer information, add a new customer, change information for an existing customer, delete a customer, view or add customer contact records for date-related comments, letters sent, mailing sent, charges made, payments made, statements sent, layaway charges and payments. To get into the first selection, Customer Maintenance, you hit F1. The Customer Maintenance processing screen is now displayed. Since you are in a processing screen, you can enter information into the computer that will be recorded within its data storage areas and can be recalled later when someone wants to see it. The first step in adding any information is to know how to use the keys on your keyboard to enter data onto the screen. The major rule is that you can only enter data in the position where the cursor is located. The cursor is that little blinking line you see in the first position of the name field. Its purpose is to inform you where the characters you type in from the keyboard will be placed on the screen. If anything is entered at this point, it will be put in the name field. There are a number of keys you can use to move the cursor to the field you want to enter information into. The Enter, Tab, and Down arrow keys will move the cursor to the next field on the screen. The Back tab and Up arrow keys will move the cursor to the prior field. The Home key moves the cursor to the first field on the screen. If the screen has a logical top and bottom part, as this screen does, hitting this key will alternately move the cursor to the first field of each part. As you hit any letter or number on your keyboard, you are automatically placed in the next position, just like a typewriter. There are also keys that allow you to move the cursor within a field. The right arrow key will move the cursor to the right one position. The left arrow key will move the cursor to the left one position. The backspace key will also move the cursor to the left one position. The difference between this and the left arrow key is that backspace will erase whatever was in the position the cursor is moved to. The delete key will erase whatever value was located where the cursor was positioned. For example, if the cursor was under the T and the delete key was hit, the insert key will set the keyboard in insert mode. Any character then entered will be inserted at the cursor position. To put back the T we just deleted, you would hit the insert key and then hit the T key. The N key will blank out everything from where the cursor is located to the end of the field. You will become used to these editing keys in a very short time. If you forget, they are listed on the quick reference sheet and are described in detail in Chapter 1 of your manual. We will now go over each of the fields on this processing screen. This is the name that is to be associated with the account. It includes the first name, last name, and any other qualifications you care to add. If you want to print reports sorted in name order, you must enter the name in a certain fashion. Put an asterisk before the last name as you are typing it in. The system will then know where the last name begins and can put it in the correct order. For customers who are individuals, as opposed to companies, you can enter in the titles Mr., Mrs., Ms., or Dr. These titles will have no effect on the sort order. This is the number assigned to an account. When a new customer is added, you have the option of letting the system assign a number for you or of entering a number of your own choosing. To designate your own account number, enter it in this field when you are adding a record. To let the system assign it, enter a 0 in this field when adding the record. This field can include an area code, the 7-digit phone number, and a 2 to 4-digit extension. Address is the billing address for an account. It includes the street name, street number, and any other qualifiers. There are 4 address lines available for use. You can receive reports sorted in address order by following certain rules similar to that of the name field. Instructions on how to do this can be found in Chapter 2 of your manual. City can be any name you wish. After you have typed in the city name, hit Tab to go to the state field. For state, enter in a valid state abbreviation, or DC for Washington, D.C. Then enter the 5 or 9-digit zip code. This number relates to a code that has been set up at your company to distinguish between different types of customers. Code fields are special types of fields that expect you to enter valid code into them. By code is meant a number, letter, symbol, or combination of them that refer to something else. The reason there are code fields is that it is much easier and faster to enter in a 1 instead of typing in what the code means. For this field, a 1 might stand for preferred customers. After you enter in a code, the description of what the code means will appear to the right of the code. The person in charge of your system will have set up the different codes you can use. You can ask them for a code listing that will show you all the valid codes in your system. In addition, if your cursor is positioned in a code field and you want to see what codes are available for you to use, all you have to do is hit the Alt F10 Help key and the codes available for use appear on your screen. There may be up to 7 other code fields on the left side of your screen. Examples of categories that might be used are shown. Your system may have some of these categories or other ones that have been set up by someone at your company. There may be up to 4 date fields on the right side of the screen. If the year of a date is not known, you may just enter in the month and day. The descriptions for the first 2 date fields will have been set up by the person in charge of your system. Usually, these are set up as birthday or anniversary or the like. Descriptions for the first 2 date fields will be the same for every customer you have on file. These fields are optional, and if no description has been set up, they will not appear on your screen. There may be up to 2 other date fields that follow. Both the date and the description of what the date references can be entered. If there is no information in these variable type date fields, your cursor will not stop in them while tabbing forward. If you want to enter data into one of these fields, go to the next field, Account Type, and hit Back tab. In this second set of date fields, each customer may have a different description associated with the date. The account type you give a customer determines how the account is handled in certain instances. A full description of how each different account type is handled can be found in Chapter 2 of your manual. Valid account type codes are C for credit limit accounts, L for layaway accounts, P for purchases only, X for inactive accounts, D for closed accounts, and U for unclassified accounts. This is the first name of the customer's spouse. If your customer is a company instead of an individual, you can use this field for whatever you wish, such as the name of the person you deal with at that company. Credit limit and credit available will only show if a customer has been set up as a credit limit account. Credit available is the customer's credit limit less their current balance. This field will appear if a customer has a layaway balance. It can only be changed by entering in layaway transactions against this account. This is the customer's balance. It is a display field and can only be changed by entering in charges, payments, or some other debit-credit transaction against the account. If you are entering in a new account and want to give it a starting balance, first add the customer to the file and then enter a charge transaction with the starting balance. This is the date the customer opened the account with your company. This is the date the customer closed the account with your company. We have now entered information into all of the fields on this screen. An important point to remember is that entering information on the screen does nothing by itself. You must tell the computer what you want to do with it. There are special keys that do this. They are the function keys that are listed on the bottom of the screen. To add this record to the customer file, you hit F4. The message, Record Added, appearing on the bottom of the screen, verifies that this record has been added to the customer file. Also notice that the number the system assigned to the account is displayed in the cust number field. The customer file is in name order. F1 will bring up the customer that is alphabetically prior to the value in the name field on the screen. Hitting F2 will bring up the customer whose name is alphabetically after the value in the name field on the screen. To go directly to a customer when you know the account number, type the number in the cust number field and hit F3. If the cust number is not on file, you will get a message saying so. Otherwise, the information for that customer will appear on the screen. To change information for a customer on file, such as modifying the spouse name field, You position the cursor in the correct field, enter in what the value should be, and hit the F6 key to record the change. You will then get a message saying the record was changed. If you hit the F6 key, but none of the values on the screen were different than what they had been before, no message will come onto the screen. If you have made changes on the screen and hit some other function key, such as the F2 key, a message will come up on your screen asking if you want to apply the changes you have made. After the changes have been applied or ignored, depending on whether you answered yes or no, it will continue on with your request, which in this case was to display the next record on the file. The F7 key will let you view customer contact and accounting information. You can also add any of these types of records. When you hit F7, the top half of the screen will remain, but the bottom half will change to display the most recent contact records for this customer. The 10 most recent contact records will be shown. If there are more than 10 for the customer, the up arrow and down arrow keys can be used to look through any of the prior records. Different information is shown for the different types of contact records. The date the record was posted will always be shown on the far left of the screen, and the customer's balance as it existed after the transaction will appear on the far right. Any due date, description, reference, or amount associated with a contact record will be shown in the middle of the screen. By looking at this screen, you can see that on May 9th, the customer had a $200 charge. On May 30th, he paid $40 toward his balance. On June 1st, he was sent a statement saying he still owed $160. On June 15th, he was sent a letter asking when he would pay. And finally, on June 20th, he paid off his balance. Using these contact records, you can keep very detailed track of what goes on in your relationship with a customer. If you have a monochrome terminal, contact records that affect a customer's balance will be highlighted. For color terminals, when you get your system, these charge and payment records that affect the balance will be one color, and the other types of contact records will be a different color. However, as shown on this screen, you will have the ability to assign a different color to each different type of contact record. The different types of contact records are shown below the transactions that appear on your screen. To add a contact record, you can use the right arrow and left arrow keys to highlight the type of record you want to add and hit enter. Or you can just hit the letter designation that refers to the particular type of contact record. For example, to enter in a charge, you could just hit the C key, or, since charge is highlighted, you could hit the enter key. After selecting to enter a charge, the display of recent transactions will go away and the screen will appear that allows you to enter in the values associated with the charge. Some values are already present in certain fields. These are referred to as default values and can be changed before posting the charge. For charges, the posted date defaults to today's date. Charge type defaults to whatever a code of 1 means at your company. And due date defaults to 30 days from today. Upon entering this screen, your cursor will be set in the amount field. You can use the tab and back tab keys to go from field to field. After entering in the amount of the charge, you can modify the charge type or hit tab to go to the due date. For due date, you enter in the date the charge will become due. This is the date used when aging your receivables. Reference can be the customer's check number, purchase order number, or anything else you want to put in this field. At any time, if the information on the screen is correct, you can hit F4 to add this charge, or escape to cancel adding this record. You will be returned to the display of the customer's most recent contact records. As we have no reference we want to give, we're going to hit F4 to post this charge to this customer. The charge we just posted now appears as the most recent contact record. The next selection, Delete, allows you to delete any contact records that were entered in error. After selecting Delete, a message will appear instructing you as to how to proceed. Use the up arrow and down arrow keys to select the record you want to delete, and then hit Y to delete it. At any time, You can also hit Escape to return without deleting a record. When you hit Y, the record that was highlighted will be deleted. The most recent transactions will display on the screen, and a message will be given to let you know the record was deleted. Selecting Letter allows you to make a notation that a letter was sent. If the letter has already been sent, you can type in a brief description of its contents and hit F4 to add the record. Using another available feature in this system, you could enter in the name of a skeleton letter that has previously been set up and hit F4. After a few seconds, the content of the previously set up letter will appear on the screen, filled in with the information regarding this customer, such as his name, address, balance, and so on. Modifications can be made, after which the letter can be sent directly to your printer. To go over this again, all you have to do is type in the name of a letter format that was previously set up, such as number 1, and hit F4. The letter will appear on your screen with all of the blanks filled in, using the information for this customer. If you didn't need to make any changes to the letter content, you could hit another key and the letter would start printing on your printer. So in about the same time it takes to load paper in a typewriter, you could have a personalized letter printing on your printer. More information regarding this feature is in Chapter 3 of your manual. The next selection, Payment, allows you to record payments made against this account. Posted date, amount, type, and payment method can be entered along with any associated reference. The next selection, Statement, lets you indicate that a statement was sent to this customer. The statement amount will default to the customer's current balance. You can modify this amount and enter any from, to, and due dates related to the statement. You would only enter a value in format if you wanted a current statement to be generated based on the from and to dates you have specified. Your standard statement format will be a 1. However, your company might have additional formats available for use. Hitting Other will display other types of contact records you can add. Layaway transactions and records of mailings can be added using the selections here. For layaway purchases, you enter in the posted date, the amount of the total layaway, any special charge type used for layaways, the number of items that were put on layaway, when the total layaway is due, and the layaway number. Mailings are indications that this customer was on the list of people who received a mass mailing that was sent out. For mailings, you can enter in a brief description of the type of mailing, along with any internal promotional number you associate with that type of mailing. Layaway payments make a record of payment against a specific layaway that had previously been entered. For layaway payments, you enter in the posted date, amount of the payment, any special payment type you use for layaways, the method of payment, and the layaway number the payment is to be credited to. To get out of the other selections, you hit Escape. The final type of customer contact record is a comment record. From the screen, you can enter a comment that will be kept on file. All of the other function keys listed on the very bottom line can also be used even when the transactions are displayed. For example, if you hit F2, the next record will display on your screen. To return your screen to display the major customer information, you can hit either F7 or Escape. The transactions will disappear and the information fields for the customer will be shown. The F8 key allows you to enter comment information concerning a customer. The difference between this and the customer contact comment record is that all customer contact records are date-related, including comments. The information on this screen is not date-related. It concerns bits of information you may wish to keep regarding your customer and his likes and dislikes. To return to the main customer screen, hit F8 or Escape. We have gone over everything you could possibly do on this screen. From the customer maintenance screen, you are able to change or add any information regarding a customer. However, in many cases, it is not very efficient to add information to one customer at a time. For instance, if you sent out a mass mailing to 10,000 of your customers, you would not want to have to sit at the computer and add in 10,000 customer contact records. For this reason, many types of customer contact records are automatically added for you. When you print labels, you can indicate to add a mailing record to each customer who had a label printed. When you print statements, you can indicate to add a record of this type to every customer who was sent a statement. If you have Golden Systems point of sale set up at your company, all charges, payments, and layaway transactions can go directly from the point of sale system into your customer file. So, for other than individual letters and phone contacts, very few of these contact records need to be added one at a time. Now we hit Escape to get out of this processing screen and return to the last menu screen we were on. The second selection, Customer Listing, will list 15 customers at a time. The first 15 customers on file will be listed when you first enter into this processing screen. To start the listing at a different point, type in where you want to start from and hit the F7 key. For example, to start the file at the beginning of all names that begin with SH, type in SH and hit F7. The F1 key will list the 15 customers that come before the ones displayed on the screen. The F2 key will list the 15 customers that come after the ones displayed on the screen. Hitting Tab will move the cursor out of the Start at Name field and gives you the ability to position the cursor by name on the screen. Use the Tab, Back Tab, or arrow keys to move the cursor from the first name on the screen to any of the other names. If you hit F7 while the cursor is positioned next to a name, that name will be used as the first name to display. If you hit F8 while the cursor is positioned next to a name, the major information regarding that customer will appear on the screen. After you're done viewing this information, hit Escape to return back to the display of 15 names. If you hit F3 while the cursor is positioned next to a name, you are taken out of this listing screen and transferred to that particular customer's record in the Customer Maintenance screen, where you will be able to make modifications to it. The other way to get out of this listing screen is to hit the Escape key. Hitting Escape will return you to the last menu you were on. The third selection is used if the monthly billing option was purchased with your system. You would only use this if you have a fixed rate you charge your customers during specific time periods. Training Tape 1A, Monthly Billing, describes the added features within the system that allow you to do this type of billing. Selection 4 can be used if you have many payments to add to your files. This might be the case if you receive a large number of checks in the mail. After you hit F4, a processing screen will display that is similar to the ones you have previously seen. On the top half of the screen, you enter in the customer number to apply the payment to, and on the bottom half you enter in the payment information. The payment information you enter here will be treated exactly the same as if you had entered a customer contact record for a payment directly to the customer file. To add a payment for the customer who was assigned number 14993, you type this number in the customer number field and hit Tab. As you go out of the customer number field, all of the information that relates to that number appears on the top half of the screen, and the cursor is positioned in the amount field. Should you wish to change the posted date to some other day than today, you can use Back Tab to get into that field. Also, if you mistakenly typed in the wrong customer number, you can Back Tab into that field and enter in the correct number. In most cases, though, you would just enter in the amount and hit Tab to go to the payment type. You enter in the other payment information fields just the same as you would when adding a payment in the customer maintenance screen. As you tab out of the last field on this screen, the record is automatically added to your customer file, and the screen is reset for you to enter in the next payment transaction. On the bottom right of your screen, the amount of the last payment added is shown, along with the number and amount of all payments you have entered. After you have entered in a number of different payments, your screen might look like this. When you have completed entering in all of the payments that have been made, hit Escape to return to the last menu you were on. Selection 5 is much like Selection 4. It is used for adding charge transactions to a number of customers. After you've completed entering all the charge information, you tab out of the reference field. The charge is automatically added, and the screen is reset for you to enter in the next charge transaction. Counts are kept on the bottom right of your screen for the charges you have entered, just as in the payment entry screen. After you have completed entering in all the charges, hit Escape to return to the last menu screen you were on. Having gone over all of the selections on the Customer File Maintenance menu screen, keep in mind that they are the only selections in the system you can use to modify information on your customer file. Selections from other menus only allow you to view or report on information that has already been added using the selections from this menu screen. We are now going to briefly go over some of the reports you can receive. To go back to the Master menu, hit the M key. Selection 3 from the Master menu, Customer File Reporting, gets you into the area of this system where you can generate reports using the information in your customer file. Training Tape 2, Standard Reporting, gives an in-depth description of all the standard reports you can get with this system. We are just going to go over the different types of reports that are available. The first selection, Customer Listing, will list customers you have on file. You can list all customers or a select portion of them. The report can be printed in name, customer number, zip code, or street address order. The next selection, Customer Labels, allows you to print labels. Here again, you can be selective in which customers print and in the order the labels are printed in. When printing labels, you can indicate a record be made in the customer file that these customers were sent a mailing. Selection 3, Customer Statements, allows you to print statements. When you get your system, it will come with a format you can use to print your statements, or you can set up additional formats to use. You can specify which customers are to get statements, what order they are printed in, and what should print on the statements. Hitting F4 takes you to a menu screen to let you choose what type of register you want to print. For all of these registers, you can specify the from and to dates you want to report on. Only records having a posted date between these from to dates will be included on the report. There is also other selection criteria you can specify to narrow down exactly what information you want to see. To return to the last menu we were on, hit Escape. Selection 5, Other Reports, takes you to a menu screen that will let you select various other reports. All of these reports allow you to list all customers or only a select portion of them. Balance Listing will list your customers and their current balance. Hitting F2 takes you to the Aged Receivables menu screen where you can specify what type of aging report you want. For example, if you choose F1 Future Receivables, you would be asking for a report listing out charge amounts that become due in the upcoming months. You can have this report printed in name, customer number, balance amount, or age of account order. On the processing screen used to run this report, you can select the aging breaks you want to see. The breakdowns used are based on the report date and the aging breaks you specify. You can have from 1 to 12 different aging breaks. On this screen, the report date is given as December 31st, 1987. Aging Break 1 will include all amounts due up to and including the report date. Aging Break 2 will be amounts that come due 1 to 30 days after the report date. Break 3 will be amounts due from 31 to 60 days, and so on. Should you care to see or input the aging breaks using calendar dates, hit F8 and the breaks will display using dates instead of days. Receivables are aged based on the breaks you specify and on the due dates used when entering charges. We're now going to go back to the Other Reports menu screen. The layaway listing will report on all or selected layaway accounts. The billing, payment, and layaway logs produce a report much like the billing, payment, and layaway registers. The difference is that these logs will select transactions based on the actual date a record was added, as opposed to its posted date. These logs are mostly used only when you have some type of accounting problem and you want to see the actual date that records were added to your files. From the Customer File Reporting menu screen, the last selection you can choose is Custom Reporting. You can be very selective in what prints on custom reports. This comes in handy in many instances. For example, if you had a store in Reno and wanted to call all local customers to let them know of a big sale you are having, you would need a list of local customers and their phone numbers. This report program would produce such a list. The type line indicates you want to report. The title line is the name given to the report. The sort line says you want the names printed in alphabetical order. The list line gives the fields to print, which in this case are the name and phone number. The select line says to include only those customers that have a value of Reno in their city field. The best advantage in having custom reports is that you get exactly what you're looking for and do not have to sift through a lot of paper to get the information you need. This can save you considerable time and money. You can also use this custom report feature to set up letter formats to send your customers. The letter format used for the example we did a little while ago would look like this. When this format was selected, the customer's name, address, first name, and today's date were put in the appropriate places. Once a format is set up, it can be used over and over again. It is very easy to learn how to write your own reports and set up your own letter formats. If you have any questions or difficulties, your customer support representative will be happy to answer any questions for you. If you are pressed for time and want someone else to write customer reports for you, your customer support representative will be able to put you in touch with someone who provides this service. This ends our brief description of reporting capabilities. This system, or any system for that matter, is only as valuable as the information it provides you. This information can be used to make important management decisions and to help make your business more profitable. For these reasons, there are 2 other training tapes dedicated solely to providing you with a full understanding of how to get information out of this system. Training Tape 2, Standard Reporting, gives an in-depth description of the standard reports in this system. Training Tape 3, Custom Reporting, gives detailed instruction on how to print reports and letters in formats you specify. By hitting the M key, we now go back to the master menu. Selection 4 from the master menu, System Administration, provides functions to help manage your system and tailor it to your individual needs. One person at your company should be designated as the administrator, and he or she should be the only one allowed to have access to these functions. The first selection allows you to back up the information in your files. Should anything happen to your computer, the second selection allows you to restore files that have been previously backed up. Selection 3, Options Defaults, allows you to tailor the system to your specific needs. This ranges from setting the color of your screens to specifying the security codes needed to sign on to your system. Selection 4, Code File Tables, lets you specify the account groups, billing types, payment types, and other code values you want to use. The fifth selection, Mass Updates, allows you to go into processing screens that can affect a large amount of information you have on file. Hitting F6 brings up the Administration Reports menu screen. A record is kept when your files are changed or reports are run. This processing journal can be reported on by selecting F1. The second selection provides an audit trail of customer contact records that were deleted from the customer maintenance screen. Using the functions available to you from the System Administration menu, you can manage your data effectively and tailor this system to fit your specific needs. This concludes our overview of this system. Having this system will help you manage your information more efficiently and give you the facts you need to make better planning and management decisions. Call now to order your copy of Golden Systems Customer Accounts Receivable.